Hello, you're watching Hornbill TV's Prime Time, and now the headlines. Highlighting the progress on the border talks with China, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said that 75% of disengagement problems with Beijing are sorted out. The US State Department imposed sanctions on China-based firms for their supply to Pakistan's ballistic missile program under the Missile Sanctions Law on Thursday. As authorities in Uttar Pradesh's Bahraich continue their search for a sixth killer wolf, two women in Mahasi village were injured in an attack allegedly by a wolf on Thursday night. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday on the sidelines of the BRICS National Security Advisors meeting. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee stood up by junior doctors who were invited at the state secretariat for a meeting today. In an emotive speech, said she was not enamored of the top post in the state and was ready to step down in the interest of the people. Now the news in detail. Highlighting the progress on border talks with China, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said that 75% of disengagement problems with Beijing are sorted out. However, the two nations still have some things to do. Jaishankar also underlined how India and China never had an easy relationship in the past. Jaishankar said so during his conversation with Ambassador Jean-David Levitt at the Geneva Center for Security Policy on Thursday. India and China did not have an easy relationship in the past, and what happened in 2020 was in violation of multiple agreements, he said, adding that the Chinese moved a large number of troops to the line of actual control. 75% of disengagement problems are sorted out, he said, but added that there are still some things to do. If there is a solution to disengagement and there is a return to peace and tranquility, he said, the two sides can look at other possibilities. That is the immediate issue, he added.
What happened in 2020 was that in violation of multiple agreements, for some reason which is still not entirely clear to us, we can speculate on it, the Chinese actually moved a very large number of troops to the line of actual control at the border. And naturally, in response, we moved our troops up. It was very difficult for us because we were in the middle of a COVID lockdown at that time. They had come out of COVID, that first round of COVID. Now, we could see straight away that this was a very dangerous development because the presence of large number of troops in those extreme heights and extreme cold in near proximity could lead to a mishap. And that's exactly what happened in June of 2020. So the issue for us is, why they have disturbed that peace and tranquility, why they moved those troops, and how do you now deal with this very close-up situation? So we've been negotiating now for close to 4 years, and the first step of that is what we call disengagement, which is that their troops go back to their normal operating bases and our troops go back to our normal operating bases. And where required, we have an arrangement about patrolling, because both of us patrol regularly in that border, because, as I said, it's not a legally delineated border. Those negotiations are going on. We made some progress. I would say roughly, you can say about 75% of the disengagement problems are sorted out.
Ford Motor plans to restart a manufacturing plant for exports in Tamil Nadu, the company said on Friday, potentially re-entering a market it exited 3 years ago. Ford said it has submitted a letter of intent to the state's government 2 days after Tamil Nadu's chief minister said that the two were in talks to restart manufacturing in the state for exports, updates on September 13th stated. After stopping its India operations in 2021 and halting all exports from the country in 2022, Ford Motor has again warmed up to the idea of opening its manufacturing unit in India for exports. Ford Motor plans to restart a manufacturing plant for exports in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu, the company said on September 30th. This strategic move will see the facility repurposed to focus on manufacturing for export to global markets as part of the company's ambitious Ford Plus growth plan. The Northeast Students Organization has asked the Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah to intervene in the ongoing violence in Manipur, which has persisted for an alarming 16 months. In a representation address to Modi and Shah, the NESO stated that the prolonged conflict has resulted in the tragic loss of countless innocent lives, widespread destruction of property, and created an atmosphere of fear and instability throughout the state. Time and again, NESO has appealed to the Government of India and the Prime Minister to intervene decisively in this matter. However, despite the urgency of the situation, there has been a disturbing lack of response, the organization stated. The prolonged silence of the Prime Minister, who has yet to visit Manipur since the violence erupted, has only served to aggravate the crisis. The absence of strong, timely leadership and intervention has allowed the conflict to fester, further escalating the violence and suffering endured by the people, the NESO stated. The statement read, NESO calls upon the Government of India to act without further delay and take concrete steps to restore peace in the state. We urge the Honorable Prime Minister to break his silence and visit Manipur to assess the ground situation personally and to provide security to the civilian population of both the communities, especially women and children, who are the most vulnerable section in this type of conflict. The NESO also called for the appointment of a high-level peace committee involving representatives from all communities to facilitate a lasting and peaceful resolution. The appointment committee of the cabinet has approved the appointment of Jitendra J. Jadhav, a distinguished scientist, as Director General of the Aeronautical Development Agency with effect from September 11, 2024. Jadhav joined ADA in 1999 as scientist E and has about 37 years of experience in the design and development of combat aircraft, flying trainers and its associated systems. He has steered the initial operational clearance of Tejas LCA and its induction into the Indian Air Force as Project Director in 2013. He is the pioneer of weaponization of Tejas LCA as a lethal platform and developed key technologies like mission and display computers, digital weapon management systems, flight dynamic simulators, etc. He took over as Director and Program Director, Combat Aircraft in September 2022 and has steered the release of military type certification of series production trainer aircraft, successful maiden flight of naval prototype, demonstration of maiden arrested landing of LCA Navy on indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant, maiden flight of LCA AF Mk1A, an enhanced version of Tejas, and many more. We'll be right back after a short break, so stay tuned for more news.
গরমতে পেট আৰু মনকে ঠাণ্ডা ৰাখে তো কি মুখি খালি মিঠাহে লাগে ইদু হেলদি আছে UHT ট্ৰিটেড আৰু সাফাবি আছে থাত ইদু ফ্ৰেছ আছে আৰু মুজাবি ওয়াও কেভিন্টাৰ লাসি মিঠাবি হেলদি বি
केविंटर लस्सी मीठा भी हेल्थी भी।
सुनो सुनो आ गया RBI का अल्टीमेट क्विज चैलेंज।
90 इयर्स का है सेलिब्रेशन और RBI लाया अंडर ग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट्स के लिए एक सुपर ऑल इंडिया क्विज।
मुकाबला है मजेदार, करो तैयारी जोरदार। होंगे लेवल्स 4 और हर लेवल पर
मिलेंगे प्राइजेस जोरदार।
कोई रजिस्ट्रेशन फीस भी नहीं।
सारी डिटेल्स RBI के वेबसाइट पर।
RBI 90 क्विज,
सीखो खेलो जीतो।
Don't share plates with an HIV-infected
Kissing
person.
can transmit HIV.
Mosquito bite
HIV can
spread
be passed
HIV.
through air.
Don't believe the misconceptions of HIV. Stay informed, stay safe.
RCF
डालमिया सीमेंट है RCF एक्सपर्ट, यानी रूफ, कॉलम और फाउंडेशन एक्सपर्ट। डालमिया सीमेंट, RCF स्ट्रॉन्ग तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग।
Welcome back. Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra has filed a complaint in the Lokpal against SEBI chief Madhavi Puri Butch. In a complaint, the TMC MP accused the SEBI chief of improper conduct and entering into quid pro quo arrangements threatening India's national interests. In a social media post on X, Mahua Moitra wrote, her Lokpal complaint against Ms. Puri Butch has been filed electronically and in physical form. Lokpal must within 30 days refer it to CBI ED for a preliminary investigation and then a full FIR inquiry. Every single entity involved needs to be summoned and every link investigated. Moitra called the SEBI chief a serial offender and alleged that she was engaged in actions that constitute impropriety on the part of a public servant. The complaint letter dated September 11th reads, Madhavi Puri Butch was appointed as a whole-time member of the Securities and Exchange Commission of India from April 2017 to October 2021 and subsequently as the chairperson of SEBI in March 2022. However, based on the revelations coming to light almost on a daily basis, it appears that Ms. Butch is a serial offender who has engaged in actions that constitute impropriety on part of a public servant and has also entered into a quid pro quo arrangements which potentially threaten India's national interests. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee stood up by junior doctors who were invited at the State Secretariat for a meeting today. In an emotive speech, said she was not enamored of the top post in the state and was ready to step down in the interest of the people. Assuring the doctors that no action will be taken against them, she said the government is always ready for a dialogue. Her anger fell on people who, she hinted, were masterminding the protest with vested interests. Pointing to the proliferation of anti-government messages on social media, she said the government has been insulted and common people do not know there is a political color to it. The people behind the political color, she said, do not want justice. They want the chair. The doctors' delegation had come till the gate of the secretariat for the meeting that was expected to begin at 5 p.m. But they refused to enter as the government had refused one of their demands, the live transmission of the proceedings. The government, the chief minister had said, could not allow live transmission since the matter is being heard by the Supreme Court.
ছিলেন বিচার চাইতে তিলোত্তমার, কিন্তু আশা করি মানুষ বুঝতে পারছেন ওরা বিচার চায় না, ওরা চায় চেয়ার। আমি মানুষের স্বার্থে এমনকি নিজে পদত্যাগ করতেও রাজি আছি। আমার মুখ্যমন্ত্রীর পদ চাই না, কিন্তু আমি চাই মানুষ বিচার পাক, তিলোত্তমা বিচার পাক আর সাধারণ মানুষ চিকিৎসা পাক।
The US State Department imposed sanctions on China-based firms for their supply to Pakistan's ballistic missile program under the Missile Sanctions Law on Thursday. The Department of State is taking action against 5 entities and 1 individual that have been involved in the proliferation of ballistic missiles and controlled missile equipment and technology. Specifically, the Department of State is designating the Beijing Research Institute of Automation for Machine Building Industry pursuant to Executive Order 13382, which targets proliferators of weapons of mass destruction and the means of delivery. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said in a press statement. Notably, RIAMB has worked with Pakistan's National Development Complex, which the United States assesses is involved in the development and production of Pakistan's long-range ballistic missiles. The State Department spokesperson further added that the US will continue to act against proliferation and associated procurement activities of concern wherever they occur. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday on the sidelines of the BRICS National Security Advisors meeting. The two were seen exchanging a handshake in a picture shared on X by the Russian embassy in India. NSA's Doval's visit to Russia comes 2.5 weeks after Prime Minister Modi's historic visit to Ukraine. In his talks with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, PM Modi said both Ukraine and Russia should sit together to end the ongoing war and that India was ready to play an active role to restore peace in the region. Sources had said that Mr. Doval's visit to Russia would be aimed at resolving the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It was reportedly carrying PM Modi's peace plan for President Putin. In the talks, the Russian leader expressed hopes that PM Modi will travel to Russia's Kazan next month to attend the annual BRICS summit. Putin also proposed to hold a bilateral meeting with PM Modi on October 22nd on the sidelines of the BRICS summit to summarize the outcomes of joint work on the implementation of the agreements reached during his visit to Moscow and to outline prospects for the near future, the Russian embassy said in a statement released. Former United States President Donald Trump has pledged to scrap all taxes on overtime work if re-elected to the White House. Addressing supporters in Tucson, Arizona on Thursday, Trump said the plan to eliminate taxes on work beyond 40 hours a week would give people greater incentive to work and make it easier for businesses to hire. Trump, at his first campaign event since his high-stakes first debate with Vice President Kamala Harris, said that the people who work overtime are among the hardest working citizens in their country, and for too long no one in Washington has been looking out for them. Those are the people, they really work. Trump's pledge is the latest in a series of proposals for gigantic cuts to taxes. The Republican candidate has also promised to extend income tax cuts he signed into law in 2017, eliminate taxes on tips in the services industry, and taxes on Social Security, and lower the corporate tax rate to 15%.
Today, I'm also announcing that as part of our additional tax cuts, we will end all taxes on overtime. You know what that means? Think of that. Think of that. Think of that. That gives people more of an incentive to work. It gives the companies it's a lot easier to get the people. And you know, I went to some economists, great ones, and I said, what do you think? They said, it would be unbelievable. You'll get a whole new workforce by doing that. No taxes on overtime. The people who work overtime are among the hardest working citizens in our country. And for too long, no one in Washington has been looking out for them. Those are the people, they really work. They're police officers, nurses, factory workers, construction workers, truck drivers, and machine operators. It's time for the working man and woman to finally catch a break, and that's what we're doing, because this is a good one. And I think it's going to be great for the country. So that's why we will be saying that if you're an overtime worker, when you're past 40 hours a week, think of that. Your overtime hours will be tax-free. Okay? Good? You're going to have it too.
We'll be right back after another break, so stay tuned for more news.
परमात्मा और प्रकृति की असीम अनुकंपा की भूमि उत्तर प्रदेश देश में है विशेष। असीमित संभावनाओं वाले उत्तर प्रदेश के 25 करोड़ नागरिकों के विकास को डबल इंजन सरकार ने दी है नई रफ्तार। सुरक्षा, शिक्षा, चिकित्सा और स्वावलंबन की विभिन्न योजनाओं के क्रियान्वयन से उत्तर प्रदेश बना है देश में नंबर 1। गरीबों को मुफ्त राशन, जरूरतमंदों को पक्का आवास, सर्वाधिक शौचालय निर्माण, निशुल्क गैस कनेक्शन का उपहार और एमएसएमई क्षेत्र में अग्रणी राज्य है नया उत्तर प्रदेश। देश में सर्वाधिक पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि मिलने से अन्नदाताओं के चेहरे पर है मुस्कान। नए भारत में नंबर 1 उत्तर प्रदेश, जन कल्याण में विशेष।
It doesn't take much to save a life. Practice safe behavior.
RCF दालमिया सीमेंट है RCF एक्सपर्ट, यानी रूफ, कॉलम और फाउंडेशन एक्सपर्ट। दालमिया सीमेंट, RCF स्ट्रॉन्ग तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग।
Welcome back. Hindu organizations staged a protest over an alleged illegally constructed mosque in Mandi on Friday. As the crowd tried to bring down the line of barricades, police resorted to firing water cannons to disperse the crowd. The protest had been called for by Hindu organizations even after mosque authorities demolished parts of the complex that were allegedly unauthorized. Large crowds of protesters gathered along the jail road in Mandi and shouted slogans against the state government, demanding action against the alleged illegal construction. Earlier in the day, the Himachal Pradesh police tightened security and placed barricades in the jail road area in Mandi on Friday. According to Mandi Superintendent of Police Sakshi Verma, the heightened security was done following information received by the police of a gathering called by some organization. This protest followed those that broke out over the illegal construction of a mosque in the Sanjoli area of the city on Wednesday. Around 300 police personnel were deployed across the city and police nakas were placed at the entrance of Mandi town, Verma added.
कुछ संगठनों द्वारा भी यहाँ पे आज इकट्ठा होना है। वी हैव नो फॉर्मल कम्युनिकेशन रिगार्डिंग इट, लेकिन हमें भी अलग अलग माध्यम से मालूम पड़ा है कि यहाँ पे आज इकट्ठा होने की कॉल ली गई है। उस चीज़ को देखते हुए पुलिस ने पर्याप्त अरेंजमेंट्स जो हैं वो यहाँ पे किए हैं। हमारा मेन एम है कि हमने लॉ एंड ऑर्डर मेंटेन रखना है, किसी भी तरह की कोई वायलेशन नहीं होने देनी है। इफ समबडी इज कमिंग, किसी का कोई पॉइंट है पीसफुली कि आके बताना चाहते हैं, कुछ बात रखना चाहते हैं, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग, बट लॉ एंड ऑर्डर हैज टू बी। मंडी शहर में करीब 300 के करीब जो है हमारी फोर्स डिप्लॉयड है। नाकेबंदी की बात करें तो मंडी टाउन के जो एंट्रेंस पॉइंट्स हैं उसमें लार्जली हमने नाकाज लगाए हैं फॉर रूटीन चेकिंग, एंड दैट इज़ मोस्टली कि जो 163 की धारा लगाई गई है उसमें असेंबली ऑफ पीपल, ज़्यादा जो इकट्ठ है वो अलाउड नहीं होता है। प्रोटेस्ट तो फिर बाद की बात है, अगर उसकी वायलेशन की जाती है देन वी कैन टेक एक्शन अकॉर्डिंग। वज्र वाहन वाला पंजाब पुलिस से आया है, उसकी यूज़ जो है दैट इज़ मेनली फॉर क्राउड कंट्रोल के लिए जो है वाटर डिस्पर्सल जो यूज़ किया जाता है। वी आर होपिंग दैट वोंट बी रिक्वायर्ड, व्हाटएवर दे वांट टू से विल कम इन।
Meanwhile, Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Sukhvinder Singh Sukhu said that the illegally constructed mosque with which the whole issue is associated, the Muslim community has asked for permission from the Commission to demolish the extra floors themselves. He further said that any kind of illegal construction, irrespective of which religion it belongs to, will be acted upon.
जो इस मस्जिद से जुड़ा विवाद है, पर्टिकुलर शिमला से स्थित मस्जिद से जुड़ा जो विवाद है, जिसमें अवैध निर्माण की बात है, मुस्लिम समुदाय के लोग गए हैं और उन्होंने कहा कि जितनी भी हमारी मंजिलें हैं, ये नहीं है कि 2 या 3 है, मेरे को उन्होंने अभी बताया, मेरे को हमारे वो अगर वो अवैध बनी होगी तो हम आयुक्त से ये मांग करते हैं कि इन्हें गिराने की हमें इजाजत दे दी जाए। तो वो कानूनी प्रक्रिया की, क्योंकि कोर्ट में वो केस लगा है और जो भी कहीं भी कोई अवैध निर्माण होगा, किसी भी प्रकार का अवैध निर्माण किसी भी समुदाय के लोगों ने किया होगा, हमारी सरकार कानून के तहत हर प्रक्रिया को करने के लिए तैयार है और इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है। और पर सभी धर्मों का हिमाचल प्रदेश में सम्मान है। हिमाचल की संस्कृति सर्वधर्म और हिंदुस्तान की संस्कृति भी सर्वधर्म भाव की है। किसी धर्म की भावनाओं को हाथ ठेस पहुंचाने का दायित्व किसी समुदाय को भी नहीं है, ना सरकारों को है, ना किसी राजनीतिक दल को है। हम सब लोग मिलकर हिमाचल में जो सौहार्द का वातावरण है उसको बनाए रखने के लिए कृत संकल्प है। वाटर कैनन हमारे यहाँ तो हर प्रदर्शन पर यूज होता है, ऐसा नहीं है कि पहली बार हुआ और ये स्टूडेंट्स करते हैं प्रदर्शन।
And that was all for this hour's bulletin. For more news and updates, stay tuned to Hornbill TV. Goodbye.